this number. Everyone agree? You have the same number? Okay, that's the correct answer. The second question then. What is the answer? Sorry? 3.733, you said, right? 733. Anyone gets different answer? Yes, this is the correct answer as well. Actually, it's 7336, I think. Something like that. In the answer paper, I will give you, I want 2 digits or 3 digits or anything. If I say 2 digits, then you do 2 digits. If I ask for 4 digits, you give me 4 digits. Okay, I'll give you the requirement on the exam paper. How many digits do I want? If it's more than 5, don't put it down, write it down. If you come up with 3.735 and I say 2 digits, you bring it to 3.74. If it's 5 and over, it's up. Okay? I'll tell you on the paper. Read it carefully. If you do 6 digits and I ask you to do 8 digits, I cannot help. Sorry. Okay? The last one, how's the last one?
129.14.
514. Anyone with different answer? This is also the correct answer. Seems like everyone will do well on the exam. Since I don't want anyone to do well on the exam, I will come up with the one that your friend asked me. I will tell you, it's easy. So, be carefully, okay? I will explain to you one time. If you don't understand anything, show your hand up. I will explain it one more time, okay? Remember this flow? If the current spot rate of dollar baht is at 33.75 and 33.78, bid and offer. This is spot rate, so it's July 4th. And if the forward rate for December the 4th is at 34 and 34.03, bid and offer as well. If the interest rate of the dollar is at 0.50 and 0.6% per annum, PA is per annum. And if the interest rate of Thai baht is at 1.5% and 1.6% per annum, bid and offer. Client wants to buy $1 million to be delivered on the December 4th. First, on July 4th, what will the bank do? The bank will buy US dollar, sell Thai baht. Right? The bank will buy dollar. Which rate will we use? With this one, this one, this one, or this one? Which one? Tell me what number. Which one should I use? If the bank has to buy the dollar against Thai baht on July 4th, which one? A, B, C, or D? The answer is B. B as Belgium. Why? That's a good question. Why? Because the bank has to buy dollar. When you buy dollar, you buy at bid or offer. You pay less baht or greater baht. You buy at the greater baht, right? And you buy it on value today, which is spot rate. So it means that you use this rate. So the bank has to pay 33,780,000 baht to put $1 million into the account. Everyone gets it? Gets it, right? And then the bank invests the money in the dollar account at which rate? A, B, C, or D? A, B, C, or D? The answer is A. The bank has to invest in US dollar. Now, for deposit rate, it's a smaller amount. This is deposit for deposit. So it's 0.5% per annum. So when it's December the 4th, how many dollar will the bank get from the investment?
1.5 million.
The bank will get $1 million as a principal plus the interest of $1 million times 0.5% times how many months? Times 512, right? 512. Anyone doesn't get how I get 512? Raise your hands up if you don't get it. Everyone knows, right? 12 is to do it monthly because it's a per annum, and 5 months is from July to December.
How to count?
Okay, so July 4th is first, right? The first one will be August 4th, September 4th, October 4th, November 4th, and December 4th. So it's 5 months. So that's 5 months out of 12 months, the calendar months. So you calculate this number. Someone can calculate that number for me, please, and get the number. Can someone tell me how much money do we get back from this? give me the number.
เละเรื่องครับ
Okay.
อ่า
It's $1 million plus the interest of 2083.
อ่า
So if you go back home, do the calculation. Or you want to do it now and check how and can I get
ไม่
that?
ใช่200,000
You think you're gonna be fine?
โน้นะไฟเนาะ
No?
โอ้มันไม่ใช่200,000อ๋อต้องหาร100
Because it's percentage. Right? If you do the number, you get 2083. Just use your calculator. So now in this box, it means that on December the 4th, you will get $1 million, 2083 back, right? Then how many baht will the client receive? Will the bank receive from the transaction? Which rate will we use? Bid or offer? Let's say if the rate on the 4th of December is this. Are you confused with two rates between forward rate and the actual rate on the 4th of December?
yes
Okay. The forward rate is the rate that market predict that December the 4th will be, but they predict on the July 4th. But this is the actual rate, which means that you know this rate only on December 4th. This is the actual number, this is the forecast number. So if the rate ends up at 35 and 35.02, the rate that we use for this is actually 35. Because you sell dollar of this amount back to Thai baht. So when you times this number with this number, it comes to the answer of how many baht will you get. You confused?
yes
Which part of that? Last part? This part, right? Okay. From the calculation, you get this dollar amount, right? And on December 4th, the bank has to sell the dollar to get the baht, right? In order to get the baht, we look at the actual rate. Because the bank converts on December 4th, the bank don't forecast it anyway. They don't forecast it anymore. They wait until December 4th and then convert the money. So when they sell the dollar, they sell at the lower rate. And that comes from this to this. Okay. When they sell dollar, do they get less baht or higher baht? When they sell to the market $1 million, will the market give them 35 baht per dollar or 35.02? Yes, that's why we use 35 here. And then we derive the amount of baht that the client will receive at the end, that the bank will receive at the end, okay? Okay? So, if we don't have this line, okay? And I ask you, if interest rate parity comes into this, what should be forward rate? You know how much it is?
คืออะไร percentage parity
So if you get this amount, let's say it's 34, let's say it's this number, and you want the exchange rate, then you divide this number by this number. Which is actually this number.
ไม่มีทางคุณแบบไม่
So it means that in order not to let people arbitrage the rate, the forward rate should equal the actual rate. But in reality, it doesn't. So that's why they have forward rate not equal the actual rate.
Can you explain again?
Okay. Sure. Do you understand about the flow? Or you want me to repeat again? The flow itself? Okay, I'll explain again. Okay, let's start. If the client wants to buy $1 million on December 4th, What will the bank have to do today? The bank has to sell Thai baht and buy US dollar, right? How much Thai baht will they have to buy? Well, will they have to sell? They have to sell 33,520,000 baht to get $1 million. Anyone doesn't know how this comes from? Everyone understand that? Okay. This is July. Then the bank will invest dollar for the value of December 4th. How much percentage per annum will they receive? 0.5, right? Because they will deposit the money into dollar accounts. When you deposit, you receive less. So, when it is matured, the money that the bank will get is $1 million as principal plus interest rate. Interest rate, how to calculate that? $1 million times 0.5% times 512. 5 months out of one calendar year, because we have per annum based interest rate. So this number is this, like we calculated before. And if I want to know how much baht will the bank get, the bank will get this times the exchange rate of what? Of 34.05. Right? And you get the amount of baht that the bank will receive from this transaction. Okay? So, everyone gets that? Sure.
So the forward rate, the purpose of the forward rate is to predict the interest rate for the customer.
Yes.
So that they will know.
Yes.
But the actual amount, they will still use the actual rate. So-
Yes.
So that's only the purpose of the forward rate.
Yes, because forward rate, we use the historical data to predict the rate. But in the future, it doesn't happen to be like that. Okay? The last part, during the past whole day, we deal with foreign exchange risks and how to manage it. How many types of the tools that I mentioned to you today? 3 three, right? Spot, forward, and option. Which one is the obligation that the two parties agree to enter in? Which one is the obligation? It is forward. Option is actually the right. Remember the health insurance, right? This will be the last part of today. For the risks that happens to be with interest rates, okay? If a client has the risk of interest rate, what does it mean? Well, let's say if I am a borrower, if I borrow money from a bank, Mr. A borrows money, let's say borrows Thai baht from the bank. When you go to the bank, they will give you the rate, but it's not fixed rate. They're not gonna say, well, you pay us 5% per annum for the next 5 years. They say that, well, I'm gonna charge you MLR rate. What is MLR? MLR stands for minimum lending rate. It's the rate that fluctuates every day. Not every day actually, every time that banks want to change. Let's say if MLR rate today is at 7%, it doesn't mean tomorrow it will be 7. It can be 7 if the bank doesn't change it, but if the bank says, well, today I feel like 7.1%, then you have to pay 7.1%. The bank can change anytime. So MLR is, we call this floating rate. So Mr. A is the borrower. Does he have a risk? Yes, because this rate changes every day, right? So there is a tool that can fix this, like forward. Forward, you fix the exchange rate, right? There is a tool that you can fix interest rate in the future. But it's obligation. It's like forward rate. We call this product IRS, or interest rate swap. Okay? So what does IRS do? It says that today, if today's MLR is at 7%, if Mr. A enter into IRS contract, let's say it's at 7.5%. If the loan is 5 years, it means that Mr. A will pay 7.5% for the whole 5 years. So he fixed the interest rate for the whole period of time at 7%, 7.5% per annum. So every time he pays interest, he pays at 7.5% per annum instead of paying at market rate, which can be higher or lower. It's the same concept as forward contract. You do forward contract. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. You never know. Here as well. If the rate goes up and you do the contract, you lock it. Will you make a gain or you make a loss? If the interest rate goes up, you make a gain because you pay at 7.5 instead of paying at 8%. But if the interest rate in the market goes down, you will make a loss. This product, we call that interest rate swap. Okay. One last product of the derivative concerning interest rate risks. We call it cross-currency swap. For interest rate swap, you only deal with interest rate risks. But for cross-currency swap, you deal with the risk of interest rate risks plus foreign exchange risk. Okay? For cross-currency swap, what does it look like? So, if Mr. A borrows the money in Thai baht from the bank of 300 million baht for 5 years. And Mr. A is also an exporter, selling goods to USA. What he can do is to use cross-currency swap, eliminate the risks of interest rate and FX at the same time. What he does is that he converts you know what liability is? Liabilities. The revenue of Mr. A is now US dollar, but the liability is in baht, right? Because he borrows the money in Thai baht. What he tries to do is to change his liability from Thai baht to USD. In order to reduce the risk, because now his revenue is in dollar and his liability using cross-currency swap or CCS is now US dollar as well. So now both revenue and liability is matched. So now line up is dollar, revenue is dollar. And also, instead of paying interest at MLR, he now pay the interest rate at fixed rate as well. For example, if MLR is at 7%, now he also pay fixed interest rate at 7.5%. And also convert the liability, the debt, from Thai baht to US dollar to match the revenue. We call this change natural hedge. Natural hedge is when you have the revenue and expense in the same currency. So you don't risk anymore. You don't have, you reduce the risk because the revenue and expense is in the same currency. You don't have FX risk anymore because it's natural hedged. Okay. Anyone has question on IRS or CCS? So IRS deal with the only risk, which is interest rate. CCS deal with two risks of interest rate and FX as well. Let me show you one example, one more example of IRS. This one, the client pays floating rate now, and he wants to fix the rate, right? So he changed floating rate to fixed rate. On the other hand, there are some clients who wants to change from fixed rate to floating rate. For example, if company B issue a bond, bond is floating rate or fixed rate. Do you know that? It is fixed rate. On the paper, it says 5% per annum. It doesn't matter if interest rate in the market goes up and down, you still have to pay the buyer 5% per annum. So the company wants to change the fixed rate to floating rate. If that's the case, what company B will do is to enter IRS to swap it back to MLR. Let's say they swap it to MLR minus 0.5%. So instead, let's say MLR today is at 4.75%. The company swapped from the fixed rate of 5% to MLR minus 0.5%, which is 4.25%. So if this is the case, it's a cost saving tool. What does it mean, cost saving? Instead of the company paying at 5%, now entering into IRS, the company pays something lower, cost saving. Okay? You don't understand, okay? Sure. If the company holds the bond and pay it to the lender, how much will they have to pay? 5% per annum, right? But they enter into IRS to swap it into floating rate at MLR minus 0.5. If MLR is at 4.75, and they pay MLR minus 0.5%, which is 4.25%. So now instead of paying to the lender at 5%, they're paying at 4.25%. That is cost saving.
Why is it minus 0.5?
This is just example. Let's say it's minus 0.5.
Like just set up?
Yes. It's this tool. It has a pricing model. Normally, you change from something unrisked because you pay at fixed 5%. The market will give you cost saving because you now turn into floating rate, which has a risk. So the market pays a premium. This is premium, extra premium, when you have to hold the risk. So you pay at lower. But if MLR goes up in the future, let's say it goes up to 6%, will company B still making a gain or loss? They will making a loss because now they pay 6 minus 0.5, so they now pay 5.5% per annum instead of holding the fixed rate at 5%.
They can actually cancel the fixed rate anytime.
They can enter the IRS anytime.
เอา anytime เอา how about เอา anytime can the company เอา
Yes. Remember I said IRS and CCS are obligation. Can they go out anytime? Actually they can. But they have to pay the difference. When they hold, let's say, when they hold the forward contract, go back to forward contract. If the client wants to enter into the contract of buying $1 million at 34 on January 1st, today is July 4th, they enter this contract. If on the October 1st, the market is at 30, and the client wants to end the contract. Remember, I still use the word contract. You cancel the contract, you can cancel the contract, but it has compensation, right? So if the rate on the 1st of October is at 30, you lock the forward at 34, you can cancel the contract, but you have to pay the difference. This case, how much difference? It's 34 minus 30 times $1 million. So is it your obligation? It is your obligation. but you can cancel your obligation by paying penalty. That answer your question? I think so. When you want to walk out from obligation, you can pay the money, but you have to pay the money in order to walk out the contract. On the other hand, if on October 1st, the rate is at 36, can you walk out from the contract? Yes, you can. But instead of paying money, because you're making a loss, right? This first case, you're making a loss of 4 baht per dollar, right? Because you lock the contract at 34, the market ends up at 30. This case, you're making a loss, you pay money, which is penalty. But if it ends up at 36 on the 1st of October and you want to walk out the contract, the bank has to pay you because you're making a gain on the contract, right? You lock it at 34 while the market is at 36. So you buy dollar at 34 instead of 36. So this case, how much gain you making? 36 minus 34 times $1 million, which is 2 million baht. If you want to walk out from the contract, the bank will pay you 2 million baht and then we walk out. No more contract, no more obligation. Everyone understand? You can walk out of the contract, but you still have obligation. Obligation can be good to you, this case you get money, or bad for you, this case you pay money. And that adapts to the IRS as well. So if you're making a loss on IRS, you can cancel it, but you have to pay the difference or receive the difference. Okay? I think this is the end. Anyone has any further question? Or else the class is finished. Thank you very much. I hope you can do the exam in a few weeks.